Tonight, on a new episode of Behind the Quill, we are going to dig into the life of a French playwright, actor, and poet, widely regarded as one of the greatest writers and social critics of La France. We are talking about Jean-Baptiste Poquelin! What? You don't know him? Of course you do, but you know him by the name of Möliere. After hundreds of hours investigating the life and death of Möliere, our secret agents found 4 witnesses that live in the same period as Möliere and brought them back with our 21st century technology. And now, 2 pretentious young ladies. They used to live in the French Providence, but beware, if you are not worthy enough, they are going to make a fool out of you. They are Maquillon, Hector, les pressions ridicules. He is a widower. He has a son, a daughter, and he is pretending to arrange a marriage between himself and a much younger woman, even though he's over 60. Say goodbye to your money and hello to Harpagon, a severe hypochondriac. Well, that's that! And now, let's begin! Jean-Baptiste Poquelin was born in Paris, France on January 15, 1622, but he would be best known by his stage name, Möliere. He was the first son of Jean Poquelin and Marie Chris. His mother was the daughter of a prosperous bourgeois family. A wealthy family. And his father was the royal upholsterer of King Louis XIII. His mother died when he was 10 years old, and after that, everything changed for little Möliere. His father remarried 1 year later. This hurt Möliere deeply, and he carried that wound for a long time. They were never rich. However, Jean-Baptiste was educated at the Collège de Clermont, a Jesuit Catholic institute. There, he received a solid education, fell in love with Plautus comedies, and he may have known some future freethinkers, such as Savinien Cyrano de Bergerac. Möliere was attracted to theater since childhood. Somewhere along the way, he fell in love with it, and he was devoted to the theatrical profession for the rest of his life. Although his father clearly intended for him to take over his royal duties, the young man quit the job in 1643, wanting to break his father's family-long practice and determined to make a living of theater. The same year, he met a talented actress named Madeleine Véjart. She persuaded Jean-Baptiste to establish a theater. They founded l'Illustratrice. The theater life was not considered very respectable, so he took the name Möliere in order to spare embarrassment to his family. By 1645, having served 2 prison terms as a result of the company debts, Möliere and his company changed the name of the group and toured all over France for the next 13 years in order to survive. He became the director of the company this same year. At the age of 36, he returned to his beloved but cruel Paris. He established with his company there and under the protection of King Louis XIV, the Sun King. He wrote, directed, and performed in what would be the most outstanding plays he ever created. So, ladies, can you tell us what happened the night of November 18th of 1659?
Of course, garçon. That day we saw the world for the first time.
We took the audience by surprise.
Yes, nobility and royalty gathered just for us.
Thanks to us, King Louis, our personal friend, took care of the company of Monsieur Möliere.
Theatre Petit de Bourbon saw a story for the first time.
Your story? can you tell our audience what's your story and why it's so important in the life of Molière?
Oh, oui, garçon. We are
Les précieux ridicules! The pretentious young ladies follows the misguided sentiments and affections of the two young beautiful ladies from the French Providences, Magdalene and me, Cato!
Oui. We traveled from the province to Paris, and my father wanted us to find husbands right away. So he introduced us to Monsieur Laranche and Monsieur de Quill.
However, we, les précieux, thought that they were unworthy of our love and sophisticated manners, and we proceeded to mock them with our wit.
Oh, oui. And then the pretenders bowed to have their revenge, and they told their valets to pretend to be noblemen and amazed us with their wit. Oh, those valets called themselves Marquis de Macquarie and by Tom du Jodelet. Oh, the nerve!
Magdalene fell in love with the Marquis, and I fell in love with the Viscount. After a show of nonsense, the valets revealed their true identities. We were devastated because we took pride in our wit and intelligence. Oh, we felt ashamed and ridiculous for being so naive.
Oh, le nerve!
Calm down, Maggie, calm down. We are better than that. We are les précieux ridicules.
Of course you are.
You know, Monsieur, now that I think of it, I think Monsieur Molière wrote the pretentious young lady to portray the way French society acted and behaved, especially the ones that belong to the bourgeoisie.
At the end of the day, the play is a comedy of manners. It was mightily prized of its entertaining and humorous narrative.
The pretentious young ladies was Molière's first big success.
Thank you so much, ladies. And even though you're fictional characters, we value your testimony.
What do you mean with fictional characters, Gascon?
You are not real.
What now?
In 1660, Le Petit Bourbon was demolished to make way for the eastern expansion of Le Louvre, but Molière's company was allowed to move into the abandoned theater in the east wing of Le Palais Royal. After a period of refurbishment, they opened there on January 20, 1661. In 1662, he married Armand Villard, a 19-year-old actress who was either Madeleine's sister or her daughter. The records are not clear, and Molière always played with that. The same year, he premiered L'École des Femmes, seen as a masterpiece. He made fun of the limited education that was given to daughters of rich families and reflected on Molière's own marriage. Both this work and his marriage attracted much criticism. Molière was almost 20 years older than his wife. Even though Molière enjoyed the personal support of the king, he struggled with illness, marital problems, and depression. Still, during this period, he wrote and presented a work that shows his mastery and genius. Les Misanthropes, presented in June 1666, pleased his admirers, but it lacked the popular appeal necessary to make it a success. La Barre, a comedy! Presented 2 years later in September 9, 1668. It was so funny, it helped bring in the audience once again. Monsieur Harpagon, thank you so much for your time. If you want, you can put down your chest.
I'm sorry, monsieur. Yes, I thought you were a thief, or worse, a poor man.
It's okay, don't worry. Let's continue. What can you tell us about your story?
I am the father of Cleante and Elise, and I am a wealthy, vicious, money-lover old widower. I love money more than anything in the world. Yes, even more than honor, and than virtue. Fletcher! This servant. He's always rubbing the furniture so hard, I have to reprehend him. 'cause he damages it, huh? Anyways, I love beautiful woman with beautiful.
Monsieur Arpagon, we asked about the story that Monsieur Molière wrote about you, and about that time you tried to marry your daughter to an old man and tried to steal your son's sweetheart.
Right, I think I am a little bit obsessed with money, but I also buried a little chest in my backyard with a lot of money. Yes, 10,000 French crowns, which is a lot of money for the 17th century. But then I went for it, and I have it here with me, and it will be with me always, forever. Yes, I believe that made me a little bit paranoid. Meanwhile, I believe my son and my daughter, they fell in love at the same time. Yes, Cleante fell in love with the beautiful Marianne. And Elise fell in love with that penniless Valerie.
He saved your daughter from drowning, didn't he?
Yeah, right. The thing is that I really wanted Cleante's lover to be my lover, the beautiful Marianne, yes. but I wanted Elise to marry a rich man like Anselm.
The 50-year-old guy, right?
Right, yes, the 50-year-old man. But the thing is that they plotted against me, so I had to give up my plan. But I discovered them, and I threatened Cleante to disown him for speaking against me. But the thing is that we discovered after a while that Marianne and Valerie were the lost long children of Anselm. So, tricky, right? Yes. Anselm agreed to pay for both weddings. Yes. And then I discovered in this adventure that my true love was always with me.
Your sons.
No, my money, honey.
Monsieur Harpagon, what do you think this play meant for Monsieur Molière?
Well, I want to say success and money, but we all knew that he wasn't really comfortable with that woman, his wife of 20 years old, while he was 40 years old. So they never really clicked, you know? Yeah. His two kids felt that
Yes,
too.
Marie-Madeleine and Pierre. You know they are both real people, not like you. You are a character in a play.
Wait, what?
Molière had also developed a bad cough for the last couple of years, which he tried to mask as a comic resource. When he felt overcome by a coughing attack on stage, he exaggerated in an attempt to make the audience laugh. Molière had so little faith in doctors that he never took care of it, and that decision cost his life. Jean-Baptiste Poquelin, better known as Molière, spent the final years of his life battling his bad health, his broken marriage, and the pressure of working for royalty. Through physical and mental fatigue, he kept writing, directing, and acting. Molière was a very gifted writer. In 15 years, he wrote instant classics and he made a place for himself in history. On February 10, 1673, at the Teatro in Paris, Molière premiered his last work, Les Malades Imaginaires. He wrote, directed, and acted 7 days before his death. Monsieur Hagan, welcome.
Thank you, my boy. Now, please do tell me, what the hell am I doing here? I have a condition, you know? Actually, conditions would be the more proper term.
Of course, monsieur. Well, we want to know what do you think about the play that Monsieur Molière wrote about you and your several conditions.
First of all, let me start by telling you, Monsieur Molière gave his life for this play. Literally. Oh, he once told me about how much he hated and feared doctors and apothecaries. Did you know, my boy, that his mother died when he was only 10 years old? Oh, sacre Dieu, mon Dieu, what a tragedy!
Yes, it was a tragedy. No child should lose their mother that young.
With that out of the way, let me tell you my story. I was very happy making everyone's life miserable with my dramatic suffering, melodramatic suffering, and my constant unnecessary medical treatments. My doctor and my apothecary were bleeding me dry, literally and figuratively. You see, they were praying with my conditions, and in the meantime, I would not double-check anything because I was too afraid to die. My wife, my two-faced second wife, Berlin, she had this plan, you know. She wanted to take everything I owned to make it her own. So she wanted me to die and first sign some document. Furthermore, to aid her cause, she wanted to put my two daughters in a convent so they could never claim any of the money. I had my own plans for my eldest daughter, Angelique. I told Angelique, oh, le petit Angelique, a dutiful daughter should marry a man who is convenient for her father. But she said, I do not want to marry Thomas de Fevreux, the doctor's son. I want to marry my beloved Cléon. Toinette, my maid, wanted to help Angelique. So he told Cléon the whole story. And that dirty Cléon disguised himself as a singing teacher, the singing teacher of my beautiful Angelique, just to get into my house and steal my daughter from my hands. One day, my brother fired my doctor and my apothecary. And my doctor, in a fury rage, told me, oh, the wedding contract is off. And about the apothecary, he said, 4 days you will last before you die. And I thought I will. I thought I was going to die, but I did not. I did not die. I did not die. But, however, I kept fighting with my brother because of the future of my daughter and because of my illnesses. Toinette had a wonderful idea. She suggested we should already clear the matter once and for all. Yes. So I was to play dead like so. Ah! And then we would wait until my wife to come in. So I played dead. Ah! And then Berlin came in. And Toinette said, oh, mon Dieu, what a tragedy! Monsieur le patron is dead! But my wife did not shed a single tear. So, suddenly, I rose up and said, ah, ha, 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 you were glad you were going to have my fortune, aren't you, Berlin? Well, guess what? You get nothing, because I'm not dead. Then, as she was crying, I told her to get the hell out of my house, and I put her on the street. After that, we decided to go further with the plan. So I played dead again. And then my daughter Angelique came into the bedroom and saw Papa lying there. And she said, oh, what a tragedy! My Papa is dead. No longer breathe, no longer. No, he's dead. The sweetest thing in my life has gone. And that Cléon said, oh, Angelique, I'm your boyfriend. I shall comfort you. No! She said, no! My Papa is gone. And he wanted me to marry someone else, so I will. In that moment, I rose again and said, oh, Angelique, mi petit. And everything was fine again. Everything was happiness. I gave them my permission to marry, with the condition that Cléon would become a doctor. And then my brother said, you should become a doctor too, because illnesses never dare to come near doctors. So I did. I became a doctor right there, right in that moment. Oui.
Well, not really. You see, you are not real. You are just a character in a play.
Wait a moment. What are you telling me? None of this is real. Then I don't have children. I am free. I am free.
Oops, you weren't supposed to see that. And now, just for you, this is the first and only interview you will ever see of someone who goes by the name Möliere. Welcome, Monsieur Möliere. It's an honor to meet you.
No, thank you for bringing me here to this world again.
Of course, Monsieur. Let's get to the point. In 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
Dramatic, critic, and comedian.
Dramatique et comédien.
Incredible. What can you tell us about February 17th,
My last
1673?
day on stage, performing. My last day in this difficult but amazing world, and the culmination of a dream.
Et difficile.
Difficile. You see, monsieur, through the most part of my life, my only dream was to be an actor. That's how it all began for me.
Why the culmination of a dream?
So, the day of my death, I didn't renounce to my craft. We have to remember that in the 17th century in Paris, it was against the church to die as an actor. A big bag of nonsense.
Amazing. About that day, there is a myth that you died on stage wearing a yellow coat. Is that true?
Dieu n'est pas c'est oui, mon Dieu ne c'est pas non. Il porte un succès. Je vous souhaite for the opportunity.
I'm not going to say yes, but I'm not ready to say no. The important thing here is that I had the opportunity to fulfill my dream and the opportunity to help the world the best way I knew.
Commandant de ma paix.
Right outside my theater, there was a sign that read, Castigad riendo mores. Castigad riendo mores. Castigad riendo mores.